evening. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave. WW7ATS, the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, is a group of amateur radio enthusiasts that take to the airways with fast scan television. We have a repeater located up on Blue Mountain. We transmit on 70 centimeters. It's a crossband repeater and spits out images at 1.2 gigahertz. Also, we use SeaTac Repeater Association's WW7 STR repeater, known as the 08 machine, 147.08 and 103.5. So anyway, that's for our voice transmissions during our nets. If you want to find out more about the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, Google WW7ATS. That's Google WW7ATS. That will take you to our homepage where you can find out more about the Western Washington Amateur Television Society. There you'll see the frequencies we operate on and a little information about our group. Also, once you're at our homepage, there's a link for streaming on YouTube that has the video for our nets that are held on Wednesdays and Saturdays between 8 and 9 o'clock. So for that, I'll pause just in case anybody has emergency traffic or needs to make a contact before our net gets fully underway here on the 08 machine. This is Dave, WW7ATS. Hearing none, again, this is Dave, WW7ATS, and this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society. And so far checked in this evening is Richard, K7ITX. Jim, N7QO. James, WU7N. And myself, Dave, KD7CYM. This is all checked in by a video link. Is there anybody else who would like to check in this evening? Well, we have a limited group tonight, but that's going to be okay. I did get a text from Lee, N7KC. Is attending his ham radio net over in Port Angeles this evening and may join us later. So, I guess we'll get our net underway. Let's start off with Richard, K7ITX.
I don't even know that I've ever seen a net where there's just two people, at least in video right now. But I heard Bellevue Jim, or what am I saying? I heard James out there, and hopefully Covington Jim, but clearly I don't see Ron or the rest of the game. And if it sounds like I'm losing my voice, I think I am. It doesn't sound the same to me. So maybe I'll get this fog out of my throat and I'll just get back to normal. KD7ZYM, K7ITX, back to net control.
7ITX. Well, let's go to Covington and see if Jim's with us. N7QO.
Thank you, Dave. Good evening, Dave and Dick. Well, my wife's got the computer tonight. Looks like she will for the upcoming Wednesday nights in the near future. So I won't be able to do video, but I see you both. Otherwise, I just can't transmit any video tonight. I don't know. Today was a pretty nice day. Doing work around the house and work outside, running errands before the rains come, which should be sometime, I think, middle of the day tomorrow. if it sounds like I'm losing my voice. I am a little bit, but not as bad as you, Dick. Sorry, dude. So maybe everyone's been busy today and are just trying to recover, or maybe they're just now getting around to having dinner. Oh, there's Ron. Hi, Ron. Let's see. Okay, pictures on the 1.2 gigahertz downlink, I might add. And I guess back to you, Dave, and 7QO.
James, WW7N in Bellevue.
How's the audio coming through tonight?
Hey, for a change.
Okay, thank you for that. Make sure you tell me, and I'll switch it over to the other. I had that problem because of the type of anesthesia I had a couple of weeks ago, but I think I've got mine pretty much back now. Anyway, yeah, the weather is definitely going to change. Anthony's planning an outdoor activity tomorrow, and it's probably still right at 10, and I think the weather forecast says the rain's supposed to come in after 11 a.m., and he said, oh no, we'll make it. It's touching to have such faith in the federal government, especially for the weather forecast. So anyway, let's see, what else has been going on? Actually, not too much here. I've been doing things around the house, enjoying the beautiful weather before the rains come in. Getting a few things done outside. But other than that, just laying around and healing up. So let me turn it back to net control. Dave, take it away.
7N, thanks for that. This is Dave, KD7CYM in Lake City. My, got 66 degrees outside, and starting to cloud over a little bit, but outside of that, it's been a marvelous day. A lot of sunshine earlier in the day. I was outside, got to go for a walk. Went to Costco, did some chores, and so that was about it. I've been watching the basketball game tonight, and unfortunately the Golden State group is down about 4 points at this point, so we'll have to see how that progresses. They're only into the beginning 4 or 5 minutes of the second half, so lots of room for changes. And let's see, when I was at Costco, I picked up their prepared enchiladas. Oh my gosh, they use their rotisserie chicken in that, and I've got to say, it's a bargain. I've never had enchiladas that had so much chicken in it. I think they put a half a chicken in each portion. It was just wall-to-wall chicken, and the sauce was relatively mild, but it was very tasty. I'll give them credit for their enchilada thing, and it's basically set your oven for 400 degrees, cover the package up with some aluminum foil, and set the timer for an hour, and voila, you got instant enchiladas. And I would say there's enough there for about 6 people in the size of the tray that it comes in. So very delicious. So with that, let's go up to Ron, KD7QKU.
KD7ZYM in the group, KD7QKU. Sorry I'm late. We were having dinner. Joanne and her sister Phyllis went into Seattle a day to Biddy's place, and they were cleaning out the kitchen cupboards and things. Joanne came home. I thought we were going to have. I fixed dinner the last 2 times she went, but I thought she said she had something easy, but I don't know. I didn't fix dinner, so I ran over to Kentucky Fried Chicken and got some chicken, and we just finished that off. See, they did come today and clean my gutters, finally, the 3rd time. They had made an appointment, and they finally showed up, so they're all clean. So the rain should work just fine. And let's see, I have a portable air conditioner, so I installed that in the bedroom window, and I had brought the coax through for the little AGV setup in there, and I didn't want to run it through the window because if we go someplace, I'd like to be able to close the windows and lock them. So So I decided to drill a hole in the floor, so I drilled a hole in the floor and pulled the coax through it. The house is cantilevered out and back, so it was pretty easy. I just had to go through the insulation and had to go get about, I don't know, 18 inches thick to go from the floor out the plywood on the bottom, and then fish the coax through. That worked fine. Got it all hooked up, plugged in, turned on. Got the air conditioner plugged in. The remote control for the air conditioner, the batteries were bad. So I had to use Dave's trick vinegar and a Q-tip, clean that all up and put new batteries. So the air conditioner's at the far end of the bedroom, away from our head, you know, it's at the wall next to the closet at our feet. And I have a little remote control so I can turn it off and I don't have to get out of bed. So that works nice. So I'm getting set up for the warm weather. We had a couple of warm days and the bedroom was kind of hot. So I'm all set there. Let's see, I don't know if you want to hear any more from me or not, so I guess I'll just turn it back to that. KD7ZYM, KD7QKU.
KU, Ron, thanks with that. Let's go to Richard, K7ITX.
Ron and James, and great to hear you, Jim on Covington, and Dave, thanks for doing that tonight. So I actually have some video. Let me get set up here. Even though I've kind of lost my voice, I think you'll be able to understand. Let me get my screen going here. I guess while Dave was going to Costco, I was going to QFC. But looked like there was a little bit of a problem when I got there. When I saw that police car, well, here, I got more, another one that's a little bit more to show you. Let's see here. Oop, darn it, no, here it goes. Tailgate of that white car, I thought, ooh, a stolen car, or maybe the car's trying to get away or something, and then I looked at it, so I didn't know the story, and then I see the car smashed into the side of you can see it, the wall buckled right there at the QFC store, right next to the water dispenser. Richard, we can't see the picture. You're not showing it. I'm not seeing it. I see your laptop computer, but I'm not seeing the picture. Wait. It's on. I'm watching it on YouTube, so I don't know. How odd. Oh, okay. I don't have my YouTube going. I guess I got to get that up then. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Well, I'll just keep doing it. Let's keep going here. I don't know why you're not seeing it, because I thought I was sharing it on Zoom, but maybe not. I don't know. You've got to pick the right window. Right now we're looking at your screen on Zoom. Did you see, that's all you saw? You didn't see anything before that, huh? Fine, and that makes sense. But then on Zoom share, I think we're just looking at your main screen, because when you hit share, you have to highlight the thing you want to show. Did you see this? the heck's going on. But anyway, if you saw it on YouTube, you saw the damage. So anyway, sorry for the confusion. I guess I don't know how to run my own program. So with that, K7TYM, K7ITX, back to net control.
ITX, and that also acknowledges Bert in 7CS is signed on. And so let's go down the list from where we're at to Jim in 7QO.
Well, said something there, but we'll check after my turn here. And good evening, Bert. Wow, well, Dick, that store definitely got hurt in a bad place. I am shocked at how much damage there is inside. Just looking at what happened outside, that was quite a bit. Wow. Ron, portable air conditioner, that sounds like a really good idea. I don't know, it didn't get hot enough at the house here to turn on the air today, but seems like within the past couple of days we had the air running for a little bit. Dave, thanks for mentioning those enchiladas. I actually went to Costco today as well. I looked at the fajitas. I did not get those based on advice, and I saw the stuffed peppers. I thought about those, but I thought, nah. And then I was looking for bulgogi. They did not have any today, although they have had a number of times in the past. Well, thanks for mentioning that anyway. Back to you, Dave, and 7QO.
7QO, let's go to James, WU7N in Bellevue.
Well, I changed PL tones, so I don't know if I've come through better or worse. But anyway, Richard, thank you very much for showing those videos. I saw them on 1.2 just fine. I found on the share, once you bring up the share, then you have to kind of highlight what you want to find. Otherwise, you end up putting a screen up you didn't intend to, which I think is a little flaw in that program, because I can't imagine how that must be in the professional environment. It just goes to show you how you want to make sure, if you're doing professional telecoms, that you use a computer only for professional stuff, and then you do all your other things on a different computer, because it's just too easy to suddenly end up with, a full screenshot of your trading account or something when you're at work or some such. Or something even more exciting. Anyway, thank you for the enchilada pointer from Costco. That sounds very Costco to me, that they're using the rotisserie chickens that haven't been moved. They rip all the chicken off them, and then that goes into the enchilada mix. That would make sense. Very Costco. Very efficient, too. I'm glad to hear they're not throwing the chickens out. One memory that sticks in my mind from years ago was I was at the Costco in Issaquah, and there was a group of people from India, and they were just staring in horror, and I thought, oh, someone's fallen down, someone's broken their leg, something terrible has happened. I go up there, and they're staring in horror at the Costco employees throwing the bananas into the compost mulcher, and they're just, slightly ripe bananas. They're just yellow bananas. These people are just looking in horror at the food being thrown out. That's always kind of stuck in my mind years and years later. So anyway, well, Ron, good job on running the coax and getting the AC installed. I have one portable AC upstairs, and I was contemplating whether I really need to get another one, because I think it weighs about 12 tons. And I have to get it up and down 2 flights of stairs if I want it in my office, and then put it up in my bedroom for the evening. So as wet and warm as it has been so far, we're already in the first week of June, I guess I'm kind of gambling that we're going to have a mild summer here. If anybody has any comments or knows of any long-term projections on that, please share. It's certainly supposed to rain a lot in the next couple of days. One of those atmospheric rivers is snaking over us in the next few days. Let's see. Anyway, so I'm curious to know, Ron, too, when you poked your hole through the insulation, how did you keep the drill from binding up on the insulation? I'm curious to know how you did that. So that's it for me, James, WW7ATS in Northeast Bellevue with the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net. Let's turn it back to Dave, our net control.
7N, yes, and it's time to ID again. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. Well, here in Lake City, it's gotten a little more cloudy in the last few minutes, so that's sort of an ugly thing that's happening out there. But I guess there'll be no need for air conditioning tomorrow. It's supposed to get kind of wet, and, well, I guess air conditioning might be good to the standpoint it does take the humidity out of the air while it's operating, so that might be a plus factor when it's really humid outside. And Ron, with getting the air conditioner out, I think that's great for the season. Be ready for that. And getting his coax in, that's pretty good. And Richard, I guess we can just sort of call him Foggy tonight, referring to his voice. And Jim experimenting with getting different things from Costco. And James, wish you well on getting healed up, so we can send that jump rope to you pretty soon so you can exercise with that. Oh my. Let's see. Costco, I did try their stuffed green peppers. I'll give that a plus to it. It's pretty good. And only thing I'd say, it's a lot of stuffed peppers for one person, but I broke it up into 3 days when I got it, so I think we'd have to do the same thing with the enchiladas. Boy, it's a lot of enchiladas, so you get your money's worth. And that's about it here in Lake City. Well, let's see. I turned on my TV to watch the game. Golden State's 98 now, and Boston's 110, and we're 4 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter, so it kind of looks like Boston may take the game tonight. But when I turned on the TV, my controller just said, oh, well, I was trying to think. I bought this TV set, about 7 years ago, and I've never changed the batteries in the controller. So I hit the on switch and nothing happened, so I figured it must be a battery, so I replaced the batteries, and voila, instant it came on. So I guess with very little usage, you can get many years of juice out of those controllers. But when they go flat. So this is Dave, KD7CYM, so let's go back up to Ron, KD7QKU.
7HYB.
HYB, Gary, we acknowledge you.
KD7QKU again. Well, Richard, I just got my YouTube going, my streaming going in time to see just the last bit of your picture. I don't know if you consider showing it again or not. And then, James, you asked me about the, insulation wrapping up on the drill. Well, I have it's about a 1/4 inch drill bit, and it's about 18 inches long or so. And so I pushed that down through the floor, and then I stopped, and I shoved it straight down, about 12 inches or something, till it hit something hard. And then I just started drilling again, and it came out underneath the house. So the house is cantilever. It sticks out about 2 feet or 3 feet over the foundation. So I just crawled underneath there to see where the drill bit came out. I have a 1-inch drill bit, end connectors. They're pretty big. You can't put 2 of them through a 1-inch hole when the other one, when you have the other coax in there, it just won't do it. So I had to drill 2 holes, and I had to bring in the little, I have the little bitty one, what is it, 56 or whatever it is, for the little 2-meter radio that I have in there if I want to talk to the 08 repeater. So anyway, I drilled 1-inch holes on top, and then I went outside and I had a hole saw, so I drilled, run the hole saw. There wasn't too much space. I have a 1/2 inch drill, but with the 1-inch drill bit and the drill there wasn't enough space, so I have a So, and then I went and got a piece of 3/8 copper tubing I had and tried to push the insulation out of the way. But I couldn't tape the coax to the tubing. It wouldn't, it's too much to go through the hole. I had to use a 2-meter whip off of a mag mount antenna, stick that down through the hole and tape the coax to it and pull it back up. And then I stuffed insulation around the wires, both outside and inside. For now, I don't know what else to do. So that's what I did on that. Let me drop it. Appointment with my pulmonary doctor. I have some spots in my lungs I've been watching for the last 5 years. I don't know how long I had them before that. They found them at the time when I fixed them. So anyway, they called me and said that they were having a problem with the heating, air conditioning, and cooling in that part of the building up, and they were canceling all the appointments, but we could do a Zoom appointment if I wanted to. Oh yeah, no, I said I'd like to do a Zoom appointment. So we did a Zoom appointment. It was a lady. I did not know that, and I'd never seen them before. Her last name is Muppuri, and she looked like she was from India. Very nice lady. I can't say her first name. I don't even have it written down here, I guess. But she was very well informed. She had looked at my records from Bellevue. She couldn't see my x-rays from Bellevue. She was disappointed in that. But she was going to order them, see if she could get them. And then we had a really big discussion, talked about everything, asked me where I grew up, what I did I live on a farm, did I smoke, did I drink, did I blah, blah, blah. And then when I told her I lived in Kennewick, which was near the Hanford Atomic Energy, she knew all about that, and she started asking me questions about that. I said, well, I lived on the fringe of that fallout from the reactor over there, and they had never contacted me to be a part of this study. But I said I probably was exposed to that through the milk, or maybe through the water, or through food, because just because maybe I lived on the edge, didn't mean that the milk I drank or the food I ate wasn't farther out into the fallout area. So anyway, so she was kind of concerned about that, but I told her they had never invited me into their studies, and I knew other people that I'd gone to school with had been involved. So and I don't think that had anything to do with anything that's wrong with me. So, like I said, she was a delightful lady. She was well informed. She knew all about me. She told me things I didn't know. No one else had ever told me when she was reading my records. But she wants to do a CT scan, and she thinks we need to stay on top of it and see if it's it. So, between the year and a half or 2 years since intervals in the scan, so I don't know when it was, maybe 2016, and then I had one maybe in 2019 or something. It hadn't grown. It hadn't increased in size. It had increased in size, I guess, up to that. It's small, like the end of your little finger. But she said it hadn't increased in size, so she doesn't know if it's increased this time. If it hasn't increased this time, she said, that would really be good. And we just, wouldn't have to think too much about it, but she wants to do a CAT scan and find out. So. Anyway, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Back to that KD7QKU.
QKU. Let's go to Bert in Marysville, N7CS.
Hello, everyone. Sorry I was a little bit late tonight. Got a late start getting out on the evening walk today. So I was watching on YouTube for the first maybe 6 or 7 minutes of the net, and everyone sounded really good on YouTube except I think James, but I think that you figured it out with the PL tone after that. So I wasn't listening after you changed it, but yeah, everybody else sounded really good then. And yeah, James, you were talking about the atmospheric river. That reminded me, I saw something on like some tweet the other day where they were talking about that, and they said it was going to be a Category 3. And I'm thinking it's like Hurricane Category 3, going, oh my God, gosh, but apparently it has nothing to do with hurricane categories. It's a whole separate set of categories for atmospheric rivers. So I have no idea what a Category 3 atmospheric river means. I'll have to look that up. Let's see. Oh, remote batteries that Dave was talking about. Yeah, those TV remote batteries seem to last forever. I mean, I have some that I have never changed, like ever. I mean, I usually change the TV before the remote batteries run out, so whatever kind of magic they're running in those things, it's really good. And they're usually the like no-name generic batteries that brand names you've never heard of before. So it's just amazing they don't leak, I guess. But and let me let it drop for a second. Maybe about a month or two ago on one of the nets, I mentioned that I had a letter from the job that I worked at, like fresh out of college way back when, and they were going to offer me a pension buyout. So I finally got the details of that. So I can tell you guys what it is, and then you can tell me what math makes the most sense. So if I do nothing and just keep the pension as is, in the year starting 2037, I will be able to get like $550 a month from that. Alternatively, I can elect to take the pension starting like in August of this year, and then get, I think it's like $205 a month, like forever. Why not forever, but until bad things happen to me. Or if I just want to buy it out, they will give me a lump sum of $49,000 that I can roll into an IRA and invest in however I want to myself. So those are my options. Do nothing, $550 a month starting in 2037, $205 a month starting like now, or $49,000 lump sum that I can throw into an IRA and do whatever with. So anyway, those are the options. What would you do? This is Bert and Marisol, and send us back to that.
My Bert, decisions. Well, let's see Gary, K7HYB.
Sorry, I gave almost jumped in a little bit late here, but I'm going to be I'll be in and out. I'll be monitoring, but really don't have much to do tonight. And I've got a couple of projects that been. So anyway, yeah, I wish I was facing that problem, Bert. But I elected to take my Social Security at 60. But then I already had 2 retirements to back that up, so it wasn't my sole source of income. And I was still under the CSRS retirement system in the government, and I am glad that I never changed over. They made a big deal about it, how the other thing was going to be so much better, and I said, no, I can see the handwriting on the wall, and I decided I was going to stay on CSRS, and I'm glad I did. So, anyway, they pay me well. It's getting to be really tough with the cost of gas and stuff like that going up to try to keep the bills paid somehow, or I'll keep the lights on, I guess. Anyway, so I'm in and out. I'll be listening if anybody just say comments at me. KD7ZY, KD7HYB.
H1B, thanks. Let's go to Captain Richard, K7ITX.
Without running any computer calculations, Bert, I don't know, I'd say take money now. I'd say just start taking that $200 a month right now. I don't know what you said you were talking about sometime in the year 2030 something. No way, I wouldn't wait that long. And who knows, will we even have a country at that point in time? You just got to take some time, especially something like this that I don't know if you knew about it or not. So, yeah, Ron, let me show you a couple videos videos, but I'm going to have to do it the same way. Like I said, you have to watch it on YouTube, because evidently I'm not smart enough to do it any other way at this point. So here we go. Just going to the grocery store, and this is what I ran into, or this is what that car ran into. And I thought it was a police pursuit just by the way that they get right up behind it so it can't back out of there. But no, it was someone that got sick and just hit the accelerator and drove straight into the building. I'm not sure if this was, I don't think this was the wine at that point. I think that's the hard stuff. But as I walked around the corner, now that was like wine. Yeah, no, man, that's probably going to make you cry. Pretty exciting to see that, and golly, if there was ever a time to get your camera out for the watch program, I thought, well, here I go, so I did it. Anyway, I can't talk anymore. This is crazy. I'm losing my voice. I'm losing my voice by the second. K70IM, K7ATS, back to net control.
ITX, let's go to Jim, N7QO.
N7QO, thank you, Dave. Well, Dick, sorry you're losing your voice. Yeah, you're right. You probably should not be talking anymore. Having said that, I have a couple of questions for you. Do you suppose that with all of those bottles of refreshments on the floor, perhaps the store will be offering a discount? And if you think the answer might be yes, then which that looked like was it a QFC? Just curious where that was. Was that the one at Kent Kangley and Benson or something like that? I might just have to take a trip there tomorrow. Anyway, but don't talk. Let's see. Burnt. Yeah, I saw something on television. The red barn burned. Curious if you heard anything about that. I didn't hear any sort of follow-up on that. Just curious on that. And also, regarding this retirement, I have several different thoughts, in part due to things that have happened to me. One, regarding all of these different choices, I would think, how would that impact my family? Would your spouse get half of that, half of whatever the choice was if something happened to you after retirement? Or, well, do those numbers go away? Basically, if something happened to you, or does your wife get a cut of that? Reset. choice of getting the regular checks immediately or beginning in, holy cow, 15 years from now. Whereas if you did the lump sum, you could defer all of the taxes. Another thing, I'm not sure which company that was to which you are referring, but I can say that during my career, 3 of my employers have filed bankruptcy, and 2 of them have zeroed my retirement benefits, and the third, they froze the plan, but where they froze the plan got me so that my retirement, my 39 years of longevity, my retirement checks are smaller than my Social Security checks. So I would lean toward getting the lump sum immediately, the $49K, and depositing it into an IRA where it would be yours, and you would not have to pay taxes immediately, and your family would have access to the money if something happened to you, and if the company happened to go bankrupt, well, no big whoop for you because you received your benefits. That's my inclination, but probably have to consider a few more things there. Anyway, that's my 2 cents for now. KD7ZYM and 7QO.
QO, let's go to James, WW7M.
First of all, let me give you the most useful help desk answer to your question about what is a Category 3 atmospheric river. It's one between a 2 and a 4. And that's the help desk answer because it's absolutely accurate and totally useless for your question. But I'm going to have to look at it now that you brought it up. You're rolling those videos again. You didn't mention that it was really the high quality scotch all over the floor. All I can say is, oh, the humanity. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I'll have to stop now because that's a pretty big Hindenburg disaster there. Monkey wrench in financial planning over the last 2 years for everyone is inflation. A gallon of milk 2 years ago, I looked it up, it was common, $1.79 a gallon. It's now $2.40 a gallon last time I bought some at grocery outlet. So that's over a 20% increase in just that one food item. And if you calculate, it depends on how you do it, inflation from the 80s method or the 1990s method, you're running about 16% annual inflation, which means $1 in your checking account 2 years ago is worth somewhere between, 70 to 75 cents, depending on who you want to believe and what you're really planning to buy. So that's the thing that, if anybody has any ideas on that, please let me know. Because, I can see, yes, the transportation industry has not done well with their pensions. If you even have a suspicion this company won't be around for a while, I'd take the money and run, roll it over to an IRA, and you don't have to worry about taxes until you start getting your mandatory withdrawals on the IRA. But that advice was worth every penny you paid for it. There was another thing, Ron. You led us up to it, and then you said blah blah blah. We want to hear every gory detail about it. I mean, I didn't know you lived around Hanford. I was listening to a really interesting song today, and I could not tell, although the song ostensibly is about a type of cactus that blooms only about every 2 or 3 years at night. I was wondering if they were talking about that radioactive contamination as I was listening to the words. I'll have to bring it next net, and you guys can make your judgment on which interpretation you think that is. Very interesting song. Like all great art, there's probably many different interpretations to the words. Anyway, I see we're getting pretty close here to the top of the hour, So this is James WW7ATS in Northeast Bellevue. Let me turn it back to our net control. Take it away, Dave.
WW7N, thanks for that. This is Dave, KD7CYM, and this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. Oh my, I was looking back at Bert's investment, you might say initiative. I'd say at this point, take the cash. The stock market is really bottomed out at this point. Be a great place to invest it. Your options is to roll it into an IRA, then you'll pay 20% in taxes every time you take money out after you're age 75. But if you put it into a Roth, you take a 20% loss right now. But when you go to take the money out, you would not have to pay any form of taxes on it. So you prepaid the taxes on the lower amount. Historically, the stock market seems to double every 7 years. So by the time you retire, that $35,000 that you will have invested in a Roth probably should be worth about $300,000 tax-free. Otherwise, you'll probably have the $300,000 that you'll be paying 20% taxes on when you go to take it out. That's my idea of what I would do. This is Dave, KD7CYM in Lake City. So let's move it back up to the top to Ron, KD7QKU.
Dave, KD7QKU. Well, Richard, thanks for showing the pictures again. It didn't look like the car did much damage outside, but it sure knocked those shells over and all those bottles all over. So anyway, well, Bert, I'm not as smart as Dave, but I figured that $250 a month, would be $3,000 a year, and times 10 would be $30,000. So in 15 years, it would add up to 45. And anything beyond that, would be, extra. So I guess I would do it that way probably. I don't know about putting it in the stock market. It'd be okay. Dave's done very well. We haven't done that great, I don't think. But anyway, I guess I wouldn't wait. I don't know what the date was, 30-something, 2030-something, before you get the 500. I don't think I'd wait that long. I don't know. I didn't. I taken my retirement early, my Social Security, and I got a small retirement from my company, half of what they said they would give me. But that money is usually put in a trust fund. So if the company goes out of business, the money's in most cases it's still there and it's paid out to the people. That's what I've found. So anyway, I don't know. You have to make the decision for yourself. So let's see, what else can I talk about? I don't know. I told you the guys come over and clean the gutters. I was glad of that. It was the third time I had made an appointment and they finally showed up. I did turn the ATV repeater on, and I had to put an extension on the transmit cable. It was too short. I had run it in the window, but when I put it underneath the house, it was about 6 feet too short. So I had to put an extension on it. So it didn't seem to make much difference in the picture. I turned everything on and tested it. The picture was just about the same, probably a P2.5. Had some color, but was awful snowy. So anyway, it works. So maybe someday Wade said he would come over and help me turn the antenna and look at the picture and see if we could fine-tune it a little bit and get it maybe closer to being pointed directly at the repeater. I'm pointing it where I think the repeater is. So anyway, that's it. KD7QKU, back to that.
QKU, thanks for that. Let's go on to Bert, N7CS.
Thanks everyone for their tips on what you would do. I was leaning towards taking the lump sum and then putting it into an IRA. As I think Dave mentioned, you do have a couple of choices. You can either stick it into a traditional IRA and they don't owe any money on it right now, or you could roll it instead into a Roth IRA. And it's not quite 20%. I think it's whatever your current tax bracket is that you owe. I'd have to double check that. But it would be a bit more than 20% for me. But I was considering doing that too, because I do like to convert my traditional IRA to Roth every year when I can. But yeah, so it was 2037 was the year that I would have to wait if I wanted to get the traditional pension. What Jim was saying about all the companies going bankrupt and all that, this is from a major oil and gas company, so they're doing really good right now. But yeah, I mean, they won't necessarily do it like just years ago. I don't think they would ever go out of business, but you never know. With cars switching over to electric stuff, I mean, there may not, how much gas do you want to need in 2037? So, I don't know. But so I still have some thinking to do about that. I think I've got maybe a week left to decide, because if they do put a time, they box you in, so you have to give them a decision in a quick time period. But and Jim was asking about, let me let it drop for a second. Jim was asking about, well, what happens, like, if you die, is there anything left for the wife? So if I put it into an IRA, then as long as the wife is a beneficiary, then they would be able to get that. Although, interesting, if I go for the lump sum option, my wife does have to get a notarized form saying she waives all rights to the money if we go that way. But because they don't know who you're going to sign up if you're a beneficiary when you in your IRA. But if they do the pension route, there's actually a bunch of other options you have to pick, and the amount varies whether, like, it will go over to your wife, like if you die, or if maybe it'll go over for just 5 years if you die to her, or if she gets nothing when you die. It's kind of complex, but anyway, that's probably it for now. I see we're coming up near only a few minutes left, so I'll say 73 for now. This is Bert and Marshall in Sunset back to that.
Yes, let's go to Gary, K7HYD. YB, Gary, we're receiving no audio from you.
Nice, do you hear me now?
Now.
David, thanks for checking me. The signal's pretty decent from the repeater tonight. And good evening, everybody. I'll talk to you later, K7HYD. I won't be, by the way, I won't be on the air on Saturday. I'll be in Spokane.
Okay, we wish you well for your travels. Let's go to Richard, K7ITX.
We'll see you guys around the block. K7ITX, back to net control.
7ITX. I think that's about the shortest reply we've ever had from you. I hope your voice does get better. Let's move on down to Jim, N7QO.
Thank you, Dave. Yeah, Dick, I think you need to take maybe a hot toddy and then not talk any for the rest of the night there. Good luck with the throat. Hope it feels better. Yeah, Gary, thanks for checking in. Hopefully we'll catch you again next week. Bert, yeah, I think maybe what Dave was alluding to is you have to take required minimum distributions unless they're a Roth IRA. I would endorse doing a Roth IRA. You have to pay the tax up front, but you don't have to worry about paying tax on any proceeds from that ever again, and you don't have to worry about the required minimum distributions. I don't know about the oil companies exactly. They're probably about as secure as can be, but I don't know. My retirement funds were not in any sort of trust fund. What happened is at each bankruptcy, I was considered what they called a secured creditor. And what that meant is that some bankruptcy judge made a decision that there's this much money available, and some of it has to go to this secured creditor, some to this, whether they're paying off airplanes or ground equipment or whatever, retirement plans. And so if you're not going to get everything if the airline says there's not enough money to go around for everyone, it's like, well, sorry, our stuff was not in a trust fund. So Bert, I don't know about that situation, but I think if it were me, I would take the money as a lump sum, but do not take possession of it. Do an immediate rollover into a Roth IRA. That would be my advice. Back to you, Dave, and 7QO.
7QO. I got enough time to go to James, WU7N.
Jim, thank you for sharing that information. It's very sobering on how times can change and life can change. The only thing certain is, death and taxes, was that it? And I'll add a third one, maybe inflation. So anyway, looks like we're almost out of time here. So this is James WU7 in Northeast Bellevue. Thank you, everybody, for chipping in your ideas. I learned a lot tonight. So let me turn it back to Dave, our net control for the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, to close this net up.
7N, thanks with that. And it's time for the net to fold for the evening. This is Dave, KD7CYM. We'd like to thank the SeaTac Repeater Association for allowing us to use the 08 machine, WW7STR, which is 147.08 with a tone of 103.5 for our voice transmissions for our video nets held on Wednesdays and Saturdays between 8 and 9 o'clock. So on behalf of the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, this is Dave, KD7CYM, signing off the net at 9 o'clock. This is Dave, KD7CYM, clear.